What's good? Welcome back to Top 2. It's your boy Corian, Coop,
Yeah,
Sweet
boy.
Talk, whatever you want to call me. I'm with Johnny.
What's up, gang?
He got no nickname.
None. Johnny's short enough. I'll take it.
No Thugger 2 time. Computer issues, quote. But show
Cap.
must go on.
Yeah. He
So,
took the easy way out.
chump.
Chump, bro.
So, today's topic, if you're not aware of the NFL, Patriots had a dynasty going on for a good 18 years. And it all came crashing down when a boy Tom left that freezing winter Boston area to go to Florida and win himself a chip for my Buccaneers. But now there's no real dynasty. Today, that's what we're going to
That's what you
discuss.
think.
Who's going to be the next New England Patriots? And for me, it's kind of easy, but it's
Do
not
you
who
think
you
it's
think.
do you think it's gonna be more diverse than it's been since obviously the switch from Brady to up north to down south? Or
I
what
think
do you what
if teams play their cards right, which usually never happens, but preferably this one, my number one, if they play their cards right, they can have a dynasty.
Alright, so I think we're on the same page then. Let's get into it.
We're not. I already know we're not.
Alright, maybe not, maybe not.
But my number 10 is the Cincinnati Bengals.
I
Pluses, Joe Burrow. He's great. He's back healthy. They got a young, talented receiving core. Chase, Boyd, Higgins, Auden Tate, list goes on. Speaking of that receiving core on Jamar Chase, he's the real deal. He's he's gonna be great with Joe Burrow because he already was great with Joe Burrow. They improved their O line because they definitely need to. Thaddeus Moss is an underrated slash sleeper pickup for them because Thaddeus Moss was on that LSU team when they went undefeated and won the chip. And when he was on the field, because I think he got suspended. He was a dog. If the Moss rings a bell, he is the son of Randy Moss.
Has he even
Um,
got any playtime in the NFL?
he was on no, he was on the football team, not the Redskins. He played a little bit, but
I'm
wasn't
getting
all that.
him mixed up with Zach Moss for a second. But no,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they got Joseph Osai, whatever his last name is. Can't pronounce it. Um,
Good pass rusher out of Texas.
yes. And then finally, not finally, but they're young, they're talented. Only thing they can do is get better. And then finally, Jesse Bates is a key building block for them, and he's a top safety in my opinion. Now the
He's a good position
minuses,
to build around.
yes, the minuses. Obviously, the defense it needs a lot of help because that's really what's holding them back. And their head coach, Zach Taylor. I feel he's not the guy. They should go to Joe Brady instead. Joe Brady, if you don't know who he is, he was the OC of that LSU team when they went undefeated with Joe Burrow. Now he's on the Carolina Panthers as their OC. I really think he should consider going to the Cincinnati Bengals if that job opens up. If and when, I should say, because it will open up. And then Billy Price, O lineman, they did not pick up his fifth-year option, so after this year he will technically be a free agent unless they re-sign him. But I don't think they will. And then, really, finally, the division. they have to be the top dog of their division, and their division contains the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns. So really, that's a big thing in that, and they have to
That's
play
one
the
of the reasons I
Chiefs.
stayed away.
Yeah,
That's definitely because two of those teams I'm very fond of, and just the fact that I can definitely see Zach Taylor 100% getting fired next year, considering like, I think he's 5-26, I think is his record in the last 3 seasons. I know you can say that Joe Burrow was hurt, obviously, but
no excuse.
you can't, especially this year. I know they don't really have too much on defense, but what they do have are young pieces that they can obviously are going to build over time, and they can add to those. They got some building blocks. Trey Hendrickson from the Saints. I think he's in his probably like 26. Yeah, obviously Joseph Aside, Jesse Bates. I know they lost William Jackson. They brought in Mike Hilton, one of my favorite slot corners last season. He's in his mid 30s, but that's a position you can replace over time. So definitely a nice plug and play player for this year. They got obviously they worked on the offensive line because they had to. That was the after the Jamar Chase, everyone was in an uproar. But in my opinion, the Dante Smith pick in the third round, he's going to be a starter in the NFL. I could say for at least the next 5 seasons if he can stay healthy. Because Eastern Carolina, because he's a sleeper in my list. So he's a little school guy out of Eastern Carolina. Not too many people know about him, and I think if he didn't get invited to the Senior Bowl, I don't think anyone would know about him. So look for him to be the starter at either the left or right tackle there for the next couple years. And they got Jonah Williams coming back.
Yes.
So yeah, so hopefully he can stay healthy too. It's all about that because a lot of guys, Trey Hill, even they drafted in the 6th round. If their offensive line can't stay healthy,
Why
huh?
did your door just magically open?
Oh, my dog probably popped up. I was like, "What are you looking at, bro?" There's no dog
Bro,
though.
bro,
Oh, bro, that's definitely my girlfriend. I had it, man.
I look up and I just see a door open, and it's like that didn't happen beforehand, but
Yeah, that was my girlfriend. Oh my god, immature, bro, immature.
jeez.
These are man hours.
But I mean, yeah, Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, that relationship that I don't think is going to work out. They have to bring in Joe Brady
Dude,
or an
I think
offensive
that's
mastermind.
that's a genius. That's a genius. That's the dream scenario though. So, but a lot of times in the NFL, it's working out that way. Like you can see, Corey Davis, or not Corey Davis, AJ Brown. If you wish, it will happen. That's what NFL is starting to show.
Joe might just be wishing. You never know.
Yeah, because Matt Rule, I think he's definitely there to stay, especially if he can pick Sam Darnold to play up because he has potential. We'll get into that some other day though.
And who's your 10?
My 10 is the Patriots. I just can't see. Well, obviously, this is the highest quarterback Bill Belichick's ever drafted because he's never had to draft one. What was Garoppolo, like a third round pick, second,
Something like
third?
that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think going into that is you if he has, especially with the 4 preseason games, if you have someone that can play out, especially when, like sitting behind Joe or Tom Brady. I almost said Joe Brady, but that's just value right there. Just sitting, just waiting, and you can either use that, throw him on the field like they did when he got suspended. Obviously, they had no choice. That's just a gold mine, just waiting there. Like, would they spend a third round pick and turn it into a second round pick?
Something like that.
Yeah. So just a neat little thing that those good teams do. They build off anything they can and get into the more depth about why I think they're gonna be in the rules for the next 10 years because Bill Belichick, he always hits on his draft pick. He gets those little guys, little school guys out of the late rounds and those sleepers out of the late rounds and turns them into freaking plug and play players for the next 8 years. And he's been doing it for as long as I can remember. He's been doing it with a running back. When was the last time they ruled outside of Sony Michelle? They don't. They always would take a running back in the fifth, sixth round free agency, and it'd pan out and work for him.
Yeah, they never. Their running back room was always in and out. One week
Never
is this
early,
guy.
offensive lineman either. That's another thing. They never really.
Really, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, they would get the later round guys, and they would freaking pan out like off the top of my head. Nate Solder, I think he was like a second, third round guy. When they got, he was a later round. All those guys, bro, they're really good in the scouting department. So I think that's going to pan out, especially with Mac Jones if he progresses the way Bill Belichick wants him to. Which sitting behind Cam Newton for a year, former MVP and Super Bowl freaking contender, let's say, almost perfect season. That's only
Yeah, they
what
lost week 17 to the Falcons. It was
only
trash.
so freaking put my broken heart back together because the Dolphins fan, that's the only thing we hang on to. That 1972 season, that's the only thing we got.
That's
That
the only thing you had.
we got Tua, so
Oh,
not a very good consolation prize. You know what I'm saying? Now we'll see. I would have. I'm not gonna hate on my boy. I'm not gonna hate on my boy because we'll get on that. We'll get to that later. I spoke out of place. Tua's the goat, bro. Tua's the goat. I just
so
know how you feel.
yeah, so now we're going right back to you at number 9.
All right, number 9. I got the Chargers. This is the only reason why I doubt Tua is because let me just say this. At the end of the day, I feel like if the Chargers had the pick in front of the Dolphins, they would have took Tua. I think so. He got thrown in just the worst situation, and Justin Herbert, freaking, what's his Terod Taylor got the little stabby stab in the wrong spot and got thrown into a.
But that's been
The
Tyrod's
first game was
career,
rough.
man.
Yeah, just being the bench. Not, I don't even know what to call it, bro. Like the he's the ultimate bridge quarterback. That's what it is, dude. He just has he's building the bridge for the freaking the
Yeah,
future starter to come along for real. It's just you look back on history, it's every freaking time. It's crazy. But getting more into the Chargers, they're just Justin Herbert. The numbers he put up, they're only going to get better. I mean, Mike Williams, I feel like Justin Herbert brought out his full potential. Just the 50-50 balls, perfect placement almost every time. It just because guys like that, they don't really get separation, so quarterbacks don't really know when to throw to them. But in reality, when they're covered, they're open because the frame, they know how to work with that, and just those guys like Devontae Parker and Mike Williams. They when they're covered, they're open, and he
you're
freaking
not
showed that for sure this year. And obviously, Keenan Allen, the best slot receiver in the NFL, what he put up 1,300 yards.
Thank you, Keenan Allen, for fancy. Thank you.
Yeah, I think he's one of the reasons why I lost this year, to be honest, if I can remember right. But
Him and Alvin Kamara are the reasons why I won.
yeah, Alvin Kamara is the reason why I drafted
6,
Christian
boy.
McCaffrey, and the first pick of my league was Saquon, so I didn't feel too bad. Yeah, I was the second pick. I was Christian McCaffrey, so
Jeez.
that was a no brainer at the time, no brainer. But obviously, sometimes it doesn't pan out, bro. Sometimes it doesn't pan out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, bro. I'm sure you lost this year.
I won.
Oh, last year?
Yep.
You lose last year?
I
I don't.
look. I
I
lost.
I've never won, but I've always won the regular season. I always he was always choking the
I
playoffs.
lost the regular season and won it all. That's what matters. But oh,
Yeah, fantasy football, bro, is that shit's luck, bro. It's luck. All right, let's get back on the topic at hand, bro. Though, all
so
right, the defensive pieces they have in Bosa and Derwin James. I know they lost Melvin Ingram, but that's because they're not
where
trying
did
to
he
get
go?
into that, huh? He's still a free agent.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, he's 33 though. I didn't realize he got drafted. I think in 2013. He was that was an awful draft, but he was one of the guys that panned out that year. Actually, maybe it was 2014. But that just shows you what kind of road they're heading on. They're not trying to get those old guys that still have a little spark. They want that guy that has a fire up their ass. And I think once they get their secondary figured out, because what do they have? Casey Hayward and
No more
One of
Casey
those,
Hayward.
yeah, I know one of those guys. Maybe both of them have not. Or was it Kevin King, or is that the guy from the Packers?
Kevin King is Packers.
Who's the Chargers other
Desmond
cornerback?
King was traded
Desmond. Who's the other
mid-season
Chargers?
to the Tennessee Titans for a 6th-round pick. Told
Dude,
you
it's a
this.
revolving door, bro.
'Cause he was on the last year of his rookie deal, knowing he was going to get big dollars. They didn't want to pay him. Trade him to the Titans.
Dang.
I
Oh,
know I'm
so
right.
yeah, wow. That all right. So that makes sense because they lost to Dory Jackson and Malcolm Butler, and I was just out of the. I know they drafted that one guy, J.C. Horn or whatever, right? Or was it Caleb
You're
Farley?
talking about the.
Titans, bro. Off topic again.
Well, okay, well, actually, no, because we're going in the top, because that's my number 9.
Oh, dude, I fared away from them somehow. I was
See,
a little harsh.
it was tough because I was thinking about putting the Patriots, and I was like, I don't know, because I feel like the Titans they got something going right now. So for me, obviously they have the best running back in the league in Derrick Henry. But Dupree was I put good, but I'm gonna say great pickup.
I forgot they got him.
Him over to Davion Clowney, great. They have Julio Jones. That that alone puts you as a championship contender, right? They have a solid secondary. Kevin Byard. It's a really bright spot. Other than that, they have some holes to fill. Caleb Farley again. He's kind of like an Adoree Jackson, speed, athleticism, all that good stuff.
He's a way better with coverage in my opinion. Dory Jackson was more of an athlete, and they kind of relied on that with his game. JC or who'd you say again? Caleb
Caleb,
Farley.
yeah.
You baller, bro, baller. I get all of them confused with a
hmm
lot of corners this year.
Um, they have Tannehill for now, but they did pick up Davis Mills from Stanford in the draft, so that will potentially be the QB of the future. And then their O line is solid. It could be better, but for the offense that they run, I guess it kind of works. But yeah, yeah,
Really
uh,
play action oriented.
yeah.
I like their offense, dude. They're a fun team to watch. Just because Tannehill, dude, he just delivers the ball to. It's almost like he literally teleports the ball to the person's freaking chest, bro. Puts it wherever he wants, and it looks like it's such a soft touch. It's not like how Patrick Mahomes freaking throws at 60,
I think
70
he's a
miles per hour.
baseball player.
Yeah, but Tannehill,
Tannehill
dude,
played
he'll
receiver. He doesn't have that.
obviously, bro, but just like the way that two completely different types of quarterbacks can obviously not put up similar numbers, but put up success in the NFL. Because nowadays everyone thinks it's all about arm strength, especially with like Josh Allen, and that's the big. They want a big guy with a big arm. Justin Herbert. Well, I see why it works out. It works out. Then you got the Russell Wilsons, the Baker Mayfield. So it's just there's a lot of parallel in the NFL. A lot of parallel for sure when it comes to that position.
And then for me, some minuses. How much do they have left of prime Julio Jones? How much does he have left to be in his prime? That's a big thing. Um, I don't think their team this year, even though I just said they're a good championship contender, I don't think they're built for the Super Bowl this year.
Here, what one thing I looked at for these teams is the draft history, but the Titans weren't on my list, so I didn't really see what I think they on the majority of the time. I'm pretty sure if I can remember, they hit on their picks. That's
hmm
one big thing. If you can hit on the later picks, not even saying the top, obviously the first round. If you can't hit on your first round pick, your organization is going to be in trouble. But if you can hit on those later picks, like I think they do, that's where teams stay in successful contention. Like obviously like the Patriots, when you see them have bad drafts, never. They at least get one or two starters a draft, like minimum. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. And then if they do end up being a championship contender type team, they have to play the Chiefs, and that's again for all AFC teams. besides the Chiefs. You gotta play the Chiefs. And then the last thing for me is the Colts are still a good team. They're not on my list, but they are a good team. And then the up and coming Jags, who can maybe become that next dynasty. They're not on my list, but they
These
have
are
to play
teams
them
that.
twice a year.
Oh, I thought you were talking about teams that got snubbed. Yeah, definitely. Up and coming teams that got in their division, and some Texans though. That's a nice little freebie. I miss having those, and we'll see what the Jets do. But having a freebie in twice out of the 17 games is always nice. It definitely helps your chance of making the playoffs every year, and I think it's gonna stay that way for them for quite some time. So if you consider that on top of what they had going last year, and they didn't get downgraded, so I can definitely see that. But for the next 10 years, we'll see how Tannehill. Who'd you say they drafted? David Mills.
Davis Mills.
That's interesting because like that's the thing is Tannehill has injury history. Like maybe they're thinking about the worst situation of like Calais Campbell literally barely like slammed into his knee, dude, and it was freaking almost like game over. It was literally his career ending for whatever Tannehill for the Dolphins. So maybe they're thinking that way because
Um,
I maybe they believe in Tannehill for the next couple of years. But I know quarterbacks now they're playing into their 40s like it's nothing.
well, I mean, you got to be like Tom Brady to do it. I
But
mean,
he's putting up some numbers. He is putting up some numbers, dude.
Drew Brees did
He's
it, but
in
he wasn't
31.
elite.
I the thing about Tannehill, I don't think his arms got any stronger. Like maybe
And
I don't.
now's the
We'll
time.
see how he regresses or progresses. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll definitely see.
It's an
And then,
interesting one.
so moving on to 8. For me, I put the Arizona Cardinals.
Hold up, hold
Pluses.
up.
Pluses for me was Kyler Murray. He's young still, and he has a lot to improve, but he's only getting better. He has weapons around him. I don't want to hear anything about he doesn't have. He has everything you will want in an offense.
Tight end.
This is okay. Come on.
That I don't even think they run a tight end in their set. I'm joking.
Even if they do, it's just how much of a difference will it make?
They're good. Run fits at tight end, bro. Madden.
Exactly. Uh, J.G. Watt and Chandler Jones, Buda Baker, Simmons. Hopefully Simmons plays a lot more, but mainly the Buda Baker and Simmons, because Simmons can play safety, he can play linebacker.
I
He's
love him,
everywhere.
bro. Yeah.
And they got Xavier Collins, so maybe he doesn't play linebacker, but again, they have the young pieces and they have the veteran pieces on that defense.
They had to replace Hassan Reddick. That was definitely
Yes.
a good job for sure.
And then Rodney Houston was another free agent. He was a great center. I mean, he's great in Oakland. And then I don't know really what happened. I can't recall what happened. I forgot to mention what happened, but he made his way to Arizona, and he's still good. He's still definitely got something in the tank. And then
You're going.
I got Cliff Kingsbury, whatever his last name is.
Yeah, Kingsbury.
Uh, he's the right guy for Kyler, and I think,
I love him, bro.
and that also falls into a minus for me. But that's the second minus. My first minus is J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. Jones
Yeah,
coming off a torn bicep,
they're at
and
the
they're
end of
both
their.
old, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
they're on their last leg, and then really with Kingsbury, I keep saying Kingle, I don't know why.
Dude, anything's better than me saying NTN next or last video, bro. That was horrible. It was like a freaking flashback of Pokemon days, bro.
I don't know
I
what
was
you
like, what
said.
the hell?
Good thing you said Traps, because if you didn't say
No, yeah,
Traps, I
for
didn't know
real.
who you were
You'd
talking
have been
about.
lost, bro. You'd have been lost.
But for me, I don't know who can really coach Kyler besides Cliff, because
For real, dude. For
and
real.
if Cliff doesn't pan out, then where do you go? And then corners, even though like they drafted a corner, they got Horn, right?
Yeah, JC Horn, I think, yeah.
they lost Pat Pete, but how much? It's not prime Pat Pete, so it's now freaking out. And then, um,
Definitely lost a couple steps
yeah,
last
they're
season.
gonna have to play, I think, a lot more zone, and that's gonna kind of hurt them a little bit because especially when you play against Russell Wilson, he's just gonna slowly pick you apart.
Yeah, their front seven's loaded, but outside of that, their secondary needs to come together because I I remember the Dolphins. We shredded them. I don't outside of when you lose Pat Pete, he was.
He
I
was
know
still
over
good, but he wasn't elite.
yeah, I know over time, like going into next season, what is the upgrade from? Actually, I think J.C. Horn went to the Panthers. I'm pretty sure.
I
Who did
think
the
you are
Cardinals
right.
draft? Let me
They
look. Let me
drafted a
look.
corner.
Here, oh wait, I have it up right
I
here.
know they had to draft a corner.
Zaven Collins. No. Zaven Collins. They drafted one in the third round. Marco Wilson,
But
Florida.
there you go. How did I
Yeah,
forget
that's
Marco Wilson?
yeah. I put that on my
How did I forget
other
Marco?
list.
But
For
yeah,
real,
they got a corner.
and they got a huge playmaker in Rondell Moore. But dude, I look at their draft picks. They don't really hit too. Is Byron Murphy must be their number two
Yeah,
cornerback. So I'm
he's
looking
the
at it.
number one, I think. Now.
Oh yeah, yeah, number one now. I'd
He
probably have to look at his
was
PFF because I don't know too much.
yeah, he had a solid year.
He didn't really start. Yeah, I'm too, a little ignorant on their secondary, but the Andy Isabella pick. I remember in 2019 was that the first year Cliff Kingsbury came in. They got his Hakeem Butler, Andy Isabella, Zach Allen.
Jeez.
What did Dante Thompson? Like none of these guys panned out, dude. So I look at their draft picks and 2020. I think Josh Jones starts for them. I'm pretty sure. Just a lot of like guys that are just they plugged in, didn't really work, and kind of got rid
Yeah.
of like that, like Robert Ndiche. I know that was 4 or 5 years ago, but
And,
Buda Baker they still got. They drafted in 2017. They're just a really hit or miss with the draft, in my opinion. They're not scouting department could definitely use a little upgrade, in my opinion. There's some teams that are just killing it out there, especially with the gems and stuff.
for sure. And then the last thing for me is the biggest thing. They play in the toughest division in football.
It's
So
been that
that's
for a long
it's
time, dude.
just, it's gonna be tough to try and make it out the NFC when you have to play three playoff teams.
Mm-hmm. That's it's one thing. But it's every that's one thing I like about any given Sunday, dude. Because you can look at it like on paper, and you can be like, the top four next year is going to be most likely because there's not really any. The Rams are really up there for contention for switching it up next year, in my opinion. But besides the AFC, I don't really see a team that's poking in there like I don't see the. I really can't, bro. Besides Buffalo and freaking the Chiefs, I really can't see any team really hitting in that top three spot, like just solidified in there. So a lot of diversity. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. So who is your
My
eight?
my eight, Seattle. Yeah, the thing is when a team they were in pretty much dynasty recovery mode the last couple of years. They had their old defensive pieces slowly getting plucked out of the floor. Like what they just lost KJ Wright. That was like pretty much their last guy out of the old regime. So you got to replace
Bobby
all those
Wagner.
guys. Oh, Bobby Wagner, you're right. Oh yeah, no brainer. But they lost everyone, dude. There's literally even Shaquille Griffin guys they've recently acquired. Like even after that, they're not
Hmm.
really retaining. So I don't know whether what they're really building for right now. It's hard to tell with them. That's a weird team. But just the past history and Pete Carroll's a winning coach and Russell Wilson's a winning quarterback and they finally got him a number one weapon. And outside of that, I really can't say too much good about them. But just you can't take that. And Chris Carson, you got that trio right there. You got a solid running back, a winning quarterback, and a winning coach. I think they're gonna be in it at least for the next 5 years in the playoffs. 4 out of the 5 years, I think.
Yeah,
What do you think about
not
that?
not dynasty.
I think would you have you had them low in your power rankings, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's one of those weird teams, but you can't discredit Russell Wilson, dude. He's a baller, bro. He's one of the top 5 QBs, and I think it's hard to say that a top 5 QB can like automatically bring you up to a certain level, considering the Texans last year, because Deshaun Watson put up crazy numbers, but you know he's been able to do it, and I think that's in part of Pete Carroll being his head coach.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him being dynasty.
Oh,
Good.
obviously not like maybe an NFC Championship twice or once at least the next 5 years. I don't see Russell Wilson completely bombing out for the rest of his career. And I see him staying in Seattle for the long term. I think that's his home, even though you hear all this nonsense.
Yeah,
They haven't found a replacement for him like they have in Green Bay. So
they.
for real, I'd be
Jeez.
heartbroken, dude. That shit. Ugh. Especially getting Aaron Rodgers no weapons. Let's move on to your number 7 though, so we don't get too deep into sensitive subjects.
My 7 is the Cleveland Browns.
I
For me, Baker, he's a top 15 QB. Didn't want to reach and put him at 10. I don't know how I feel about that, but I would definitely say for safety, he's top 15.
Yeah, I went
Kevin,
because the sophomore slump. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Kevin Stefanski, I think I said that right.
Yeah.
He's just great at what he does. Obviously, he won Coach of the Year, but he took that team to the next,
0.
yeah, the next step, and that's big, and it's also big for Baker's development. Uh,
100%.
Miles Garrett. What else do I have to say? Miles Garrett. They have him.
They signed Clowney on the
Yeah,
other
but
side.
he's a 1 year guy.
Yeah, still, I feel like will they have time to replace him next year? So they don't have too many holes. That's the one thing. So if you can bring in superstar potential players, that's what's going to bring you over the top. Because you look at their roster, dude. Besides, they have some question marks at the secondary there with the young guys like Greedy Williams and what Grant Delpit and all them.
Oh, Grant
But
Delpit, I
w-
loved him.
yeah, we'll see how they because I don't think I know a couple of them sat out, a couple of them got hurt. It's weird with them. They've been having bad luck, especially with the COVID stuff. They have horrible luck, probably worst out of any team in the NFL. So that's not the best excuse to use, but especially in the later half of the season when they had no wide receivers. Not as bad when the Broncos had to use the wide receiver at quarterback though. That
Jeez.
was yeah. The only thing worse than that, actually Nathan Peterman probably would have stepped in there and
Oh
put up some
goodness.
numbers. But Browns at 5 though, so I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Or do you want me to hit back on my 7 and get to that later?
I haven't even finished mine.
Oh, my bad, bro. My bad,
Jeez.
bro. Cut
Um,
you off, dog. Cut you off.
where am I? Okay, so the running back tandem between Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, best in the league, and Baker to feed off of that, crucial, crucial, crucial.
That's tough, dude. And Njoku's coming back. You gotta remember that. They got it.
I don't
He
think
was hurt
so.
all last year. Yeah, yeah, he was hurt last year. Did they trade?
I don't know.
No,
I
he
didn't put
asked
the
to be
only reason
traded.
why because yeah he asked to be traded. I don't think
No, but then I think he decided against that last
I don't
second.
know. I
Yeah,
didn't really read into it, so I didn't put it on there because I
true,
wasn't
true.
sure. The wide receivers, since you got to know them, if you didn't know last year, but they're a solid group. I'll get more into that a little later, but
Middle aged.
you know,
That's one thing.
I
They're
think
both mid early 30s. I think they're top 2 guys.
hmm they got
Still
Austin
productive though.
Hooper, top 15 tight end, might be top 10,
I forgot.
just might.
Dude, they
Uh,
have 3 good tight ends.
who's it? Harrison Bryant.
Yeah, he's he could be a number 2 probably on any other team. I think so.
Maybe, just maybe.
Maybe.
They got Denzel Ward, who
I forgot
really,
about.
I think he has another year or two until he's considered top five at his position. That's my personal opinion. Don't hate me for it. Uh, the rookie that they got, Jeremiah, Jeremiah something.
Jeremiah Usu Soa, or I think that's how you say
So
it.
yeah,
Yeah, less broken up there.
is a promising player. I think he was an edge rusher, if not a
Oh,
linebacker.
he's a coverage linebacker.
Yeah, linebacker.
Yeah,
Uh,
really good coverage grade.
that's exactly what they need.
For
So
real.
he's going to be great in that defense. And then one of the most underrated, I keep saying underrated for every team, but John Johnson, the third.
Not yet. That sounds underrated to me because I don't know about that.
Yes, he was on the Rams.
Oh, the safety.
Yeah, and now he's there.
Hmm.
Kind of sucks. I want to see Grant Delpit, but they still got room for him. Uh,
That's one thing. They're they proved to you with some of their signings that they don't even know about some of their guys in the secondary that they took in the higher rounds, like Greedy and all them.
but Grant
Because
Delpit got hurt.
yeah, what he might have a career like Malik Hooker did because he has so much potential coming in, and look at him now.
But Lee Cook was first round. Delpit would think was second or third.
Well, was one of those guys that fell. He was a second row. He was the Browns' first pick in the draft. I'm pretty sure. He was like this year. They only had they had an early second, and that's it.
I don't know. But the minus is that they have to pay both Baker and Denzel Ward because they were in the same draft. And then
True.
I think they're going to overpay, if not one of them, both of them. And that's going to hurt for the rest of the time. Because that salary is still going to be on the books. Because they will overpay one of them, if not both again.
The move would be to pay now because cap's only
Mm-hmm.
going to get up, and players are going to start sitting out when they're on these bogus deals now because the way the whatever the ratings are. I don't even know how it works. The revenue coming in from the NFL is just getting tens of millions of higher projection wise over the next couple years. I think this year, let alone, it went up whatever 13, 14 million dollars. That's not saying much because of the COVID, but
Mm-hmm.
still, the market's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So some of these deals, I think that's why a lot of these players are going to be waiting to see how it pans out because later on down the line, it's going to be looking like a bargain. So we'll see with them. What do they have fifth year options they can pick up though with those two
Yeah,
guys.
they
So
picked them up, so they had to pay them.
oh, okay. Oh, they're on those right now.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
If not
yeah, that
next
is
year.
tough then.
Yeah, because Lamar was in the same draft and Josh Allen. So yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So much star power on that offense, dude. Oh my god.
And then Odell and Landry, old.
And Higgins.
Odell's not the same. Jarvis isn't the same. They're getting older. Odell coming off a torn ACL. I don't know.
I couldn't really I wouldn't really say judge Jarvis too much because he's not really a guy that's gonna put up like he's a guy that's gonna be lucky if you put up a buck or 1,000 yards. But
His
he
first three
gets
years in Miami, he put up like crazy
I
numbers.
know, but he's never gonna be like that 1,500, 1,300 yard wide receiver. You're lucky he gets to 1,000. The thing is he makes up for it for getting like 100 catches. And the thing about those catches is a lot of them are first down catches. They're needed. He'll fight for extra yards like crazy. There's no other wide receiver in the NFL, especially with his size. He does. Oh, just I miss watching him. He did literally, even when there was nothing you thought he can do in his power to help the play. One time he dropped on his knees and like set like this weird screen, and we ended up scoring a touchdown because of him. He just did everything in his power to help, man. That's just someone you need on. He's good at blocking too, and that's one thing. Especially when you got a duo back like that, you blocking wide receivers, dude. And the Ravens, that's all they asked for with their wide receivers, at least until they drafted Tylen Wallace this year and Shad Bateman. All they wanted was for receivers to block. That's what the requirement was. So think about it that way.
Yeah. Uh, Again, they play in a tough division. Cause but Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Baltimore. It's tough to get out of that division too. That's another
Yeah, it's one of
2 or
the
3 playoff teams.
That's one of the things that kept some of the teams off my list. But they're obviously later on down the line. Where we are right now, 6 or 5? 6?
What's your 7?
So, oh yeah, my 7. I forgot. I had the Bengals at 5. I had the LA Rams because Sean McVay, he's a proven offensive coach, and Matthew Stafford, people don't know about him yet because no one gives a crap about the Lions except for when you're watching Thanksgiving with a family. And obviously he's not going to be on his best performance all those games.
I just thought about that. We gotta watch Jared Goff on Thanksgiving Day.
Dude, booty cheeks, dude.
Oh wow.
He's a system quarterback at their finest, and that's going to show because he's going to get put in the slumps. I know they got Penny, but who's he going to throw to? They lost everyone. T.J. Hawkinson. That's it. DeAndre Swift.
Oh, the guy who dropped the pass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That corner of
Against
the end
the
zone.
Bears. Goodness.
For real. All right. Let's But other than that, that's obviously they got the freaking number 1 corner in the NFL, arguably, and the number 1 all-around defensive player, and they're there to stay for quite some time. And obviously, they're all around. They're getting a little old in some places, and I think they can use another wide receiver eventually. Because I think one of their problems in the when they faced the Patriots, dude, they pretty much ran 3 slot wide receivers, like Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, and freaking Cooper Kupp. There's if you need a 50-50 ball, if you need to say screw it, bro, and you need that play, you just need them to run crisp routes. That's pretty much all, or break open on freaking 2 plays during the game, and that's what you're depending on. Patriots shut that crap down. So
Yeah.
I don't who's there. Oh yeah, the Cam Akers. He's good. So they got the running back again. Let's hit on 6 though. Who you got at 6?
6. The Buffalo Bills.
That's early. That is
It is
really
early, but when you hear the teams in front of them, because you probably don't have 1 or 2 of them on your list. You probably already said them. But
I definitely don't, because you've already named off 2 teams I have in front of you.
let's see.
Here, go on though.
I got Josh Allen. He has emerged into a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Last year was crazy. The Allen Diggs connection, that was probably the best connection in the league besides, I guess you want to say Cousins to Jefferson, but I think Diggs to Allen was better. The defense is great. That's one of the main things that keep this team afloat. They got Tre'Davious White, who is a top 3 corner in the league, potentially, arguably. Depends on who your 3 is. What's this? Oh,
Micah Hyde.
yeah, I'm gonna get on them.
Jordan Poyer.
I'm gonna get on them in a little bit.
All right, bro. I get a little excited about them, which pisses me off because we have to play them twice. So.
But Gregory Rosu.
Yeah, Russo. Yeah.
He's gonna be good. I think he was one of my sleeper picks for defensive rookie of the year. Cause
I could see that. Yeah, sneaking in there.
Tremaine
Definitely top 10.
Edmonds is a key building block, but they have to bring him back. He's got his 5th year option this year. They have to bring him back.
It's scary.
Yes,
He takes up a big portion of the field.
He's running sideline to sideline like it's crazy.
6'5". Yeah, and he's huge. Yeah, it's freaking crazy. He's fun to watch.
Re-signed Matt Milano to a 4-year deal, and then they brought back Daryl Dawkins. I was about to say Dawson, to a 3-year deal. He's a key tackle for them. And then their running back room, they're hated, but they're scary. Devin Singletary, he can emerge into a number 1 if he's not already. They have Zach Moss. Then they recently brought in Antonio Williams, former North Carolina Tar Heel. He was good in North Carolina. He's going to be good in Buffalo. They even bring in Matt Breida.
I thought you were gonna forget him for a second.
But
Dude, all the Madden players, bro.
yeah, but that
They're in
running
love
back
with that
room,
one.
man, that is scary. I think I'm
Dude,
still
for
going
real.
on now.
You
Okay,
got an
then.
option everywhere.
Yeah, then
Elusive.
the minuses, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer are both 30. That
Yeah.
30-year-old range starts to get a little scary because from there, it's just how many more good years do you have until you just slowly start to fall off. And for one of them, it might happen this year. I'm not saying who, don't know.
For when you hit 30, it's safe. You're right. There's something
Yeah,
about that where it's like it's very rare if you're gonna really
just
stay at
slowly
even
starts.
starter form, dude. Exactly. See with all of them.
And they have to bring back Josh Allen and Tremaine Edmonds because again, they're both on their fifth year option, and they
That's a big
may.
chunk of change.
And I mean, because that Patrick Mahomes contract, no one's getting paid like that. I don't. If they
He'll get
do
paid
get
close.
paid even close to that, overpay, in my opinion. But and then again, they have to play the Chiefs every year. I'm going to say it's about every single team. So they have to play the Chiefs, and then their division is only getting tougher. New England, they're back. Miami is, gosh, it's going to pain me to say this, but they're slowly getting there.
Slowly.
Slowly getting there. They're not making the playoffs this year, but they're slowly getting there.
All right. Here, no, yeah. We'll save that first. 1 second. 1 second. Literally. Keep going.
I'm good.
You're
You're
good.
next.
All right. 6. I got my Miami Dolphins, and I started writing some stuff. I was like, this is bull crap because that's you can't do something from the heart. You can't do it scripted because just comes out wrong. But just uh, I love this reference, bro. The movie Draft Day, like the Dolphins produced that in real life with a tackle that slid a potential #1 overall pick that happened to slide to them to 13 in 2016 just because his stepdad released a video of him smoking weed. That produced us to get, let's see, 5 first round picks, 3 seconds on top of what this is on top of what we already had. And now maybe 4 first round picks. And I think 2 or 3 thirds. So if you think about that, dude, just that alone, if you can't hit on those picks, which I the picks they had last year, they picked a backup boundary corner, right? When they had the oh, you're already yawning. Oh my god. There's just so much I want to say, bro, because
Get it out.
I'm gonna start out with Tua, dude. I'm gonna start out with Tua, okay? So there's a young defensive coach that they don't mesh well with rookie quarterbacks at all. And you can look back on any piece of history ever, dude, in the NFL, it just does not work. He had a starting left tackle that was new, a starting right tackle that was new, both rookies, our first and second round pick. We had receivers that were coming in and out because of injury. Our #2 wide receiver was an undrafted free agent, Preston Williams, and our #1 wide receiver is Devontae Parker, who leads the NFL in least separation amongst wide receivers. So if you really want to break it down, we had Gasecki, which is he's a beast, bro. He's that I wanted Mark Andrews and all those guys ahead of him that draft, but those combine numbers, I didn't think they were going to pan out, but they panned out, and he's going to be up there contention with those top 5 tight ends for a while. But despite that, they got Liam Eichenberg in the what second round this year, so that's 3 starters in the last 2 years on the offensive line. They got Jalen Waddle coming in. They got Will Fuller coming in. They already had receiver. They have Allen Hurns, Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant. Our receiver room is just stacked, and we have 2 first round picks for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Yes. So just even if there's just so much, like I don't even. My dreams are pretty much coming true. We just need the glue needs to put all the pieces together to solidify them. You know what I'm saying? Because all it takes is one little swipe of the puzzle and it's all screwed. Because Tua, dude, he got thrown. like there's never been a quarterback that's got thrown into a worse situation. He literally almost lost his entire leg, dude. He almost died. He had the same
Hip.
injury as Bo Jackson, dude. He like horrific, and not even a year later comes back and plays in the NFL, dude, and comes in with no off season, freaking wide receivers he didn't even play with when he did come in the off season because he was playing with the freaking backups because Fitz was playing with the ones. And we're just bringing in all this talent every single year. We have a first, second round, first, second round pick, and dude, it's just like overwhelming to even just like talk about because I get so excited. I was probably just running in circles with that. Probably didn't even really say too much, but just the amount of draft capital,
You said enough.
dude, and it's every year. If you look back on it, we hit on our draft picks, and we at least 2 to 3 starters every year. So we're bulking up these draft picks. That's just gonna add on. And positions that we are solidified at, we're just gonna get crazy backups and have even capital to trade more players. Freaking, if someone gets hurt, we're not gonna be screwed. It's just they're doing everything right. Everything right. I love it. Sorry, Corion.
Oh man, I'm just glad you got that out because I don't have to hear this
That
again.
felt I honestly felt like definitely didn't word it right, but there's too much to word, dude. Just my 9-year-old dreams are coming to life. That's all I'm gonna say. Coming from
Okay.
my first season, we watched the Dolphins. We went 1-15. So last year we went 10-6 with a rookie quarterback. So and pretty much every starter on the defense was brand new. That's another thing. We brand new starters every year, so there's no chemistry yet. So later down the line, dude, it's just gonna get better and better. So